Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Marty here, and it is Saturday. It's cold outside, and I'm hungry and low on funds, so I thought I would dig out some stuff that was in the refrigerator and kind of sitting in the cabinets and make a batch of beef stew in the Dutch oven. And what you see here is probably about a pound or more, pound and a half, maybe even 2 pounds of sirloin steak that was in the depths of freezer hell that I found. It's been in there since July, so I figured I'd go ahead and cut it up into cubes and start throwing it in my flour here. I got seasoned with salt and pepper, and get ready to throw this on the Dutch oven. I'm gonna make it out on the fire, so I thought I would bring you guys along and let you check it out. So I am going to finish flouring this stuff here, and I'll show you what I do next. Okay folks, guess what? I am out in my building, my man cave you could say, and I was going to fix this beef stew over my fire outside, but somebody was nice enough to put a bag full of dog poop in my little bonfire area, so I was like, I don't think that would be such a good idea. So I remembered I had this ancient Coleman stove, and I was like, you know what, I've never used a Coleman stove probably for the last 15 years, I guess, when me and my mom and dad used to go camping all the time. So I thought I would fire this bad boy up and just make it out here on my Coleman stove and give me a little more time, you know, getting familiar with this thing again. And make a note, do not use Coleman stoves indoors, okay, because it does put off a fume. But I have a fan right here that's blowing out my window, so hopefully that'll give me enough ventilation. Plus I'm going in and out all the time, so it should be okay. And so I'm going to make it here. And to kick this off, I'm going to take my Coca-Cola and christen it with a little Jameson's. I don't know what it is about Jameson's, but I like it a lot. Just a smidge, just enough to taste, not enough to get hammered on. So, oh yeah, there's something about Jameson that just makes stuff sweet. So, is that hot? There we go. I've got the oil in there getting warm, my pan's getting warm, or my pot, I should say. Now, I hope I do this right, because I haven't used this thing in a long time. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do, I've already got some olive oil in my pot, and I'm going to take my floured and seasoned pieces of meat here and just throw them in. What the hell? And take note, the meat was still frozen when I floured it, so I'm just going to sit there and let that cook until all that meat gets good and brown, and then I'll move to the next step. Now, my meat is browned, so now I'm going to throw in my water and this beef stew mix that I have. Blah, 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 what else does it say? I'm kind of cheating going by the directions on this little pack, just because I've never used actual packaged seasonings before. Okay, now that my meat is brown on all sides, I don't want to cook it thoroughly. I'm gonna go ahead and add my water, which is like 3 cups of water, and add my seasoning, which I'm just using regular old McCormick beef stew seasoning. I didn't even know I had it in the house, actually. So normally I just wing it and use my own spices and stuff, so let's try this out and see how this don't work. Now I'm just going to stir. The thing I like about these Coleman stoves, I didn't realize it until I got this thing out and actually turned it on. I love how Coleman stoves smell when they're on. You know, I'm not huffing the fumes or nothing like that, but you know, I don't know, it's something about food always tastes better at the lake. And food always tastes better when it's made on a Coleman stove. I don't know what it is. You know, it's just something about it just is really, really good. And it just reminds me back from the days when we used to go camping all the time. And if you don't have a Coleman stove, look into getting one, because I tell you what, they are a very valuable tool to have, especially in a, you know, like a natural disaster or some type of situation where you lose your power and stuff like that. I mean, you've always got a way to cook stuff. I mean, you can use a Coleman stove for all kinds of things. You know, my buddy, Fortune Cookie, 45LC, he actually uses his Coleman stove to melt down his lead so he can make his lead ingots and stuff. I actually thought about using my Coleman stove to do that, but it makes me nervous because I actually would like to use this thing more, and if it's got lead on it, splash in certain spots, I'd hate to contaminate anything I'm cooking with. So, but anyway, that's all I've done so far. I just browned my meat, add my water and my seasoning, and I'm going to sit here and let this cook for a little while. I'm actually probably going to let this come to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn the heat back down and get ready for the next step. Okay, now that I got this coming to a boil, now I know it doesn't call for it, but I like watching cooking shows, right? You know, it's kind of, you know, where I learned how to do a lot of my cooking, other than my mom. You know, I'm an ace at the old school country type cooking. But I always see them make like Irish dishes, and it's like a beef stew, and they add Guinness beer to it. I don't know what it's called, so maybe if some of you guys know, let me know what they call it, because I might be making it and don't even know it. So, but I'm not going to add a whole lot, you know, just kind of enough to taste. Okay, folks, now I've had this cooking here for probably half hour, maybe, give or take. And what I'm going to do next, since I'm impatient, I want to go ahead and put everything in it. I am going to chop up some green peppers, because since when does a green pepper not go good with any kind of beef anything? So I've got a few there, and I don't have a knife. But if you don't have a knife, what else can you use? A hatchet, look. So I'm going to take my hatchet and chop up my somewhat frozen green pepper. And yes, I somewhat cleaned my hatchet. I'm not one of these, you know, big sissies that have to have everything spotlessly clean. You know, I'm a man's man. You know, I don't mind a little dirt. Never hurt nobody. Drop my microphone. Hold on here. Anyway, as I was saying, a little dirt never hurt anybody. I think that's what's wrong with a lot of kids today. A lot of people too. They use hand sanitizer and they want everything 100% spotlessly clean all the time. That's why people get sick. Your body has to have some bacteria and stuff, you know, to know how to fight shit off, in my mind. So anyway, I think that'd be enough green pepper. I don't want, well, shit. Don't want a whole lot. Fuck. I've already got it out here. Let's go ahead and cut this bad boy up. You won't see Emerald Lagasse using a hatchet to cut up vegetables, but you will on the Marty cooking show. And I'm also going to go ahead and add my bag of stewed vegetables. It's got carrots and celery and onions and big pieces of potatoes, stuff like that. And they don't look like a whole lot. I think I might actually go get another bag, because I've got 3 or 4 bags in the refrigerator, and let that stew, or not stew, cook. So, now folks, as you can see, I've moved back inside. It was getting way too cold outside, and I'm almost ready for my next step of my beef stew. Like I said, I'm just kind of winging this. So, but anyway, the beef stew is pretty much finished, and I'm going to add one more ingredient to the beef stew. And this right here is Mark's Feed Store barbecue sauce. It is the red, so it's a little bit spicier than normal, just to give my beef stew a nice little kick And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a box of Jiffy cornbread mix, and I'm going to pour that over the top of the beef stew, and then I'm going to put it in the oven and bake it for about 25 minutes. And the cornbread's going to rise, and it's going to get nice and golden brown on top. So get ready. Okay, and here comes the Mark's barbecue sauce. I'm not going to put a whole lot, just enough to taste, barely enough to taste, just to kind of make it a little bit different, a little bit more of a flavor profile, as the fancy people say. So, hang on to your seats, folks. Next step's coming soon. Now, when it comes to using the barbecue sauce, I ended up using close to maybe a cup, 3/4 of a cup, and that is what it took before I could notice a little bit of a change in the sauce. And it was okay. It was getting better. But what I decided to do is use some Chipotle Tabasco, just a little bit. And that right there should liven it up just enough. So I'm going to stir this in and give her another taste. And one tip when you're cooking stuff, always test the taste. Always get you a little something and see how it's going. Oh yeah, getting a little bit better. Because you can always add, but you can't take away, so do a little bit at a time. Okay, folks, now the important step is got here finally. I can put my cornbread mix on top of the beef stew. Now, I know I told you that I only use one box. Well, I went ahead and made another box because I wasn't sure I had enough cornbread mix. So, anyways, I got that made, and that's going to go on top of there. And there we go. Note to self, I hope this works. I've got my oven preheated to 450 degrees. I'm going to slide it in there with the top on it and let her go for about 15-20 minutes. Okay, I lied. I'm not covering it. I'm going to try it this way. And here we go, folks, the finished product. Now, I think I might have messed up just a hair because I think I added just a hair bit too much milk to my cornbread mix. So I let it cook a little bit longer, and it got a little extra golden brown on top, which shouldn't be a big deal. And that right there is my little wormhole. That's where I was checking to see, how the cornbread was doing. Now it is just barely, minusculely, a little gummy, just barely. You can't even notice it. I'm so anal, I just notice little things when most people won't pay any attention. So that should be okay. And what I did here is melted some real butter, and I'm just going to baste the top of it. Sounded like a good idea to me. What cornbread doesn't like butter, even if it is on beef stew or whatever stew I just created? So let's get a little butter down into the little wormy hole. There we go. And that's it. Now I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, because actually that's still cooking, even though I just pulled it out of the oven. And then here in a few minutes I'm gonna dig in and see what it don't look like. Here we go, folks. The final product: my beef stew with cornbread on top, made in my Dutch oven. And I have to say, it looks and smells outstanding. It'll make your lips smack your forehead. It smells so good. And the Mark's Feed Store red barbecue sauce, the 3/4 of a cup, the cup that I added, plus the I'm going to say it's about 2.5 tablespoons of Chipotle Tabasco sauce. Really livened it up. It's not hot, spicy hot. It's just got a real nice flavor to it. So anyway, guys, I hope you like my video. If you would, like and subscribe, drop by and say hi. I love hearing from you guys. So guys, I'm out. I'm going to feed my face.